bear with me 1 second. Okay, Roy, welcome to Flight Experience Adelaide. Here we are in our Boeing 737-800. We're at the gate at LAX, Los Angeles International. Engines are off, so we'll have to start those. But before we get into it, what I'll do is I'll just run through the flight controls again for you. So the first one in front of you here is the flight yoke. It's like a steering wheel in a car. If you want the aircraft to turn left, just turn it to the left. If you want the aircraft to turn right, just turn it to the right. Unlike a steering wheel, though, it does move forward and back. So if you want the nose of the aircraft to pitch down, just push forward, and that'll start descending. Yep. And if you want the nose of the aircraft to pitch up and start climbing, you just pull it back. Yep. Absolutely useless to us, though, on the ground. It doesn't do anything. So to manoeuvre on the ground, so to get to the runway, you've got a black handle there just to your left, which is the tiller. That's it. So that controls the nose wheel steering. The nose wheel is actually behind you in this aircraft. So it's about there somewhere. Yep. And again, that one's like a steering wheel, just bolted that way. So if you want to turn the aircraft left, just pull it down. And if you want to turn the aircraft right, just push it forward. It is very, very sensitive. So if you find you start chasing it, just let it go. Aircraft settles down, then you can have another go. Right. So that's how we get here and then taxi to the runway. Once we're on the runway though, and accelerating for takeoff, we steer using the rudder pedals. So they control the big rudder on the back of the aircraft. If we want to steer to the left, we just push on the left one. If we want to steer to the right, we just push on the right one. Alright, the rudder pedals also do the toe brakes, but they can be quite fiddly to get to in here. So when it comes time to using the toe brakes on landing, I can help you with those. Yep. Alright, so in the centre here, we've got the throttle quadrant. Two big levers. There are thrust levers. If we want to go faster and apply thrust, we just push them forward. If we want to go slower, reducing thrust, we just pull them back. Alright, we've got these two levers here. There are reverse thrust levers. So on landing at San Francisco, it's just a matter of pulling those back, and that'll engage the reverse thrust and slow us down once we're on the runway. Alright, the speed brake lever here, you've probably seen on the top of the wings, these flaps that stick up. Yep. And they basically slow the aircraft down. We'll talk a lot about the speed brake on our descent, because we'll have to use it a fair bit. So I'll explain all that one there when we get there. You've also got the flap lever here, so they extend on the back of the wings during takeoff and landing. Essentially, they just make the wing bigger, so it can fly slower. And if you have a look over, you can see it's kind of in a V detent. And then there's these two gates here. So to move the flap lever, I have to lift it up, drop it in, lift it up, drop it in. Alright, so just to get familiar with that flap lever, I'll get you to select flap 0 for me. That's it. So drop it in, there you go. Alright, and then either side of the throttle quadrant, we've got the trim wheel. So they help the aircraft fly nice and balanced. Don't worry too much about those. I've got buttons on my yoke here that I can control those with, and the autopilot will control them as well. So just during flight, they will move. That's quite normal. Alright, so now what we'll do is we'll just look at the main instrument you'll be using. So right in front of you here is the PFD, or Primary Flight Display. In the middle of the PFD is the AH, or Artificial Horizon. So the blue on that gauge represents the sky, and the brown represents the ground. That little black dot there right in the middle, that's the nose of the aircraft. And those hockey sticks either side, they're the wings of the aircraft. Right. So right now we're sitting on the ground nice and level, and the gauge is indicating that as well. You can see these dashes going all the way up, so 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10 degrees. If you picture the little black dot, so the nose of the aircraft on that 10 there, then the aircraft's pointing to the sky at an angle of 10 degrees. Does that make sense?
Yep, yep.
And then vice versa, if the black dot's on this 10 down here, then we're pointing to the ground at an angle of 10 degrees. Right. Which hopefully we shouldn't, but... No. And then the horizon will also be at an angle, so if the horizon's kind of like that, we're in a left turn, and if it's like that, we're in a right turn. What I generally point out is that gauge makes a hell of a lot more sense when you see it actually move and start to behave as it should. Just to the left of that, we've got the speed tape. So that indicates how fast we're going in knots, like a speedometer in a vehicle. And then on the right there, we've got our altimeter, so indicating how high we are. above sea level. So you're going to see it's already registering about 130 feet. So that's how high LAX is above sea level. And as we start climbing, that number will start increasing. Our first assigned altitude today will be 9,000 feet, and then we'll climb all the way up to 25,000 feet in the cruise. About 300 knots in a cruise. Any questions at that? No worries. Alright, so now we'll have, just to the right of that, we've got the ND, which is the navigation display. Similar to a GPS in a car. Shows where we are, so we're the triangle right in the middle. So we don't kind of move, the map moves around us, just like a GPS. And what a lot of people assume is that these aircraft take off and they fly as the crow flies, direct to their destination. It's not actually true. We have to follow what they call airways, which is similar to highways. So, you know, if you're driving to Port Wayfield, you have to go on. Yep. And it's just to make sure that all the planes are doing the same thing. You know, we're not just taking off and going wherever we want. Yeah, exactly. So if I just extend the range of that gauge a bit, you can see this magenta line going from where we are at LAX all the way down to San Francisco. And you can see these names that it's got here. So these are called waypoints. What they're like towns along that highway. So, you know, you go into Port Wayfield, you cross Lower Light and Dublin and things like that. Same as that, yeah, exactly. Yep. So they're the waypoints we'll be following, flying past on the way to San Francisco. We've also got it written here. So you can see Los Angeles to RZZ, then to Pergers, Zonal. I don't know where they come up with these names, and then BSR, and then all the way down to San Francisco. All right. Does that make sense?
Yep.
No worries.
Yep.
One thing we have to do as well is, because we're carrying passengers and we're in controlled airspace, we pretty much have to get approval to do anything, which is called clearance. So we have to get cleared to fly on that highway, that airway. So I'll just do that now. I'll contact air traffic control. So where are we? We're at Los Angeles. Los Angeles clearance delivery, flight experience 556. Request clearance to San Francisco.
Flight experience 556, cleared as filed. Delta is current. Report ready for push and start clearance.
Cleared as filed and report ready for push and start. Experience 556. So he has just cleared us to fly our flight plan as we had it filed. All right. So what we'll do now is we'll do a little bit of a pre-flight checklist. So how they'd normally do it is you as captain, so you'll say the left-hand side, and then as the co-pilot, I'll action or check the right-hand side, and as we go through, I'll explain what some of the items are. So if you just want to start with this one.
Switches.
So yeah, navigation, transfer, and display switches, normal and auto. So they're up here. We've got normal, and auto. So that's basically navigation displays are just displaying the normal. You can change what they display. So you can flip them around, but we just want them as they are now. Yep, and then this one.
Your damper.
Your damper is up here. That one's on. So it's basically like an automatic rudder. So once we take off, the aircraft controls the rudder for us, and we don't have to do that while we're in the air.
Window heat.
Yep, so they're up here. They're all on. So that's like the demister in your vehicle. Stops the window from fogging up.
Pressurization mode selector.
Yep, set to auto, which is up here. So this panel actually in this one doesn't actually operate, but what we'd normally do is select our flight altitude, our landing altitude, select the pressurization, select it to auto, and the aircraft will regulate the pressure inside the cabin. And it'll keep it at about 8,000 feet.
Fair enough. Parking brakes.
So yeah, we just got that one.
Flight instruments.
Yep. So that's just checking that our instruments are set the same, so our headings are both the same, and our altimeter subscale is the same. So 1009. You've got 1009, so we're all set there.
Right, and parking brakes.
Yep, so that's just down here, making sure the red light's on and the parking brake is on, so that's checked.
Right, and engine start levers.
Yep, which are down here, so these are the fuel supply to the engine. We're just making sure that they're in their cut-off for now. Alright, so that's the pre-flight checklist completed. So what I'll get you to do now is we'll turn the fuel pumps on. So this is the overhead panel. This controls a lot of the systems on the aircraft. Do you see up here how this switch has kind of a ridge on the end of it?
Yep.
So any switch up here with a ridge, you have to pull it out or it won't move. So if you pull that out and down, that's it. That one. And then that one there. and then these two here. So what you've done there is you've just turned all the fuel pumps on. Alright, I'll get you to turn the fasten seatbelt sign on, so flick that one down. That's it. Hydraulics on, so these two hydraulic switches in the middle there, I'll get you to pull out and down. That's it. So this one here, yep. Alright, and anti-collision light is already on. So, alright, I reckon we're ready for our before start checklist. So that's that one there.
Alright. Flight deck door.
Yep, closed and locked.
Yep. Fuel.
So we're just making sure that we've got plenty. So there are gauges, so we've got nearly 11 tonnes there, so that's plenty.
11 tonnes.
Yeah.
Yeah, passenger signs.
So, yep, that's what you did there. So it's not a smoke, yep.
Yep. Windows.
So in the real aircraft, these windows actually slide open. So you're just making sure that they're locked, which they are.
Yep, yep. Yeah, MCP.
So MCP is this one here, which stands for Mode Control Panel. Basically, it's the autopilot. So what we're checking there is we're checking that we've got our V2 speed set there, which is 146. We've got our initial heading, so a runway heading of 252. And we've got our initial altitude set of 9,000. So that's all checked.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Takeoffs, speeds.
That's it. So if we have a look here on the FMC, so the flight management computer, we can have a look here that it's got V1, VR, and V2. So these are our takeoff speeds. Now what these mean are, V1 means if we have an engine failure before 134 knots, we can slow down. We have enough runway to stop. If we have an engine failure or something happens after 134, we no longer have runway to stop. We have to take off. Okay? VR, that just means the speed that we rotate, that we actually do take off. And then V2, what that means is if we do have an engine failure on takeoff, we have to maintain 146 knots or the aircraft won't climb. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Which is why we put it there. So we put V2 there, 146. So if we do have a problem, rather than us trying to, faff around looking for the 146, we've got it already there. We already know that we have to go faster than that or we won't climb. Does that make sense, Roy?
Yeah, it does.
No worries. So next one.
CDU pre-flight.
Yep, so down here we've got, see how it reads pre-flight complete?
Right.
Just there. So if we had missed something in the preparation for the FMC, it wouldn't say that. So that's completed.
Right. CDU pre-flight and trims.
Trim, yep. So set to 5 for takeoff.
Trim, taxi and takeoff.
Yep.
Bristling.
So just regarding the briefing, so we're taking off from runway 24 left to LAX, which is this runway here, this one right there, and we're parked just here,
right,
facing that way. So we're going to push back, we're going to face the nose of the aircraft that direction, and then we're going to taxi down to the runway, turn left to the whole point. And then as far as the takeoff briefing that goes, I'll give it to you when we get onto the runway. That way it's fresh in your mind and we can take off.
Right.
Happy with that?
So we've got to go into reverse and
yeah, so as we start the engines, we'll be the ground crew will push us back. And then we'll taxi.
Right.
And then one more.
Anti-collision.
Yep, so that's that one there. So that's a red light on the back of the rudder.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it just lets people, the ground crew, know that we're about to start engines and start moving. All right, so that's the before start checklist completed.
That's a lot, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. How are you going back there?
Yeah. All right, so what we need to do is we need to we have to get clearance to. We're ready to start the engines, but as I said before, we have to get permission or clearance to do everything. So Los Angeles Ground Experience 556 is ready for push and start.
Flight Experience 556 cleared for push and start. Report ready for taxi.
Cleared for push and start. Report ready for taxi. Experience 556. All right. So if you just actually, I might grab these. So I'm turning the air conditioning off right now, so that we can use all that compressed air to start the engines. So what I'll do is I'll run through how we start engine 2, and then you can start engine 1. Yeah. So up here is our engine starts. So we just push that in and to the left into ground. What you'll see here is start valve open, which means the start valve is open for engine 2. In a second we should see, there it goes. So the engine's starting to spool up there. You can hear it as well. Once we reach about 2.8, we'll hear a chime. and that's when we can induce fuel into the aircraft, into the engine. Okay, did you hear that?
Yep.
So this is engine 2 here, so I pull it out, pull it all the way up and in, and you can see the engine starting to spool up. When it becomes self-sustaining, the starter will, there it goes. So that's engine 2 started. Alright, so if you want to start engine 1, so in and to the left.
In and to the left.
That's it.
Yep.
So we're just looking for, there we go, the engine's spooling up. There you go.
2.9, so
Yep, so pull it out, all the way up and in.
Yep.
There you go. There we go. So that's the engine 2 has started. Ground crew are pushing us back. You've probably, that building there probably looks very familiar.
Yep.
All right, they're turning.
We didn't push the reverse lever.
No, ground crew are pushing us back.
They're pushing us. Yeah. It's amazing, isn't it?
All right, so it's a very short taxi. The runway is just there, so that's easy. All right, that'll be there. That's good enough. All right, what we'll do is I'll get you to set the engine. So if you set engine start to continuous, so it just means in and to the right. So if you want to do that with that one.
To the right?
Yep, that's it. All right, now what we can do is transfer electrical power over to the engine. So this switch here, pull that out and down. That's it, and this one here as well. That's it, that's it. There we go. Because we're running off the APU, so when the engines weren't running, all the electrical power was being supplied by the APU, and the APU is like another little jet engine that's in the tail of the aircraft. Yeah, so now that we've got the engines running, we can use electrical power from the engines, and we can turn the APU off. So if you just flick that switch up, that's it. We can turn the bleed air off of the APU, and I'll turn the air conditioning back on. Alright, I'll get you to select flaps 5 for takeoff. So lift it up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, drop it in. Drop it in. That's it, lift it up.
In 5. Oh.
Into 5, there you go. That's it. Alright, I'll get you to turn the probe heats on, so those 2 switches there. Okay, so our airspeed indicator probes don't freeze over. That's why we heat those. Alright, I'll get you to set an auto brake of RTO, which stands for rejected takeoff. So just flick that to the left. No, to the left.
Oh, to the left.
So, yeah,
oh.
RTO, that's it.
Yep.
So that stands for rejected takeoff. So if we abort the takeoff, it will automatically apply wheel brakes.
What would happen if I turn that to the right? What?
That's for landing. So this is all for landing,
right.
yep,
Okay.
and that RTO is for the takeoff.
Okay.
Alright.
Oh, yeah, of course.
What I'll get you to do, the taxi lights are on. Okay, what I'll get you to do is just check the flight controls. So if you just move them all the way around, so all the way, so grab them, push them forward, push them back, full left, full right. Alright, no restrictions there, good.
Nope.
What I'll get you to do there is push the recall. So if you push that panel, so
Red.
that panel there, just push it. There you go.
Flight.
See how everything lit up then? So I've got different readings to yours. But if something was to say, if I do that, if you push that panel now, all right. So you've got warning.
Oh,
I've got a warning. It's saying hydraulic system. So that's because I just turned it off there, just to point something out. But because we had everything sorted out, nothing was lit up. We're good to go.
Okay.
If somebody did press something wrong, it would tell you.
Yeah. So if we had forgotten something,
Yeah.
pushing that would say you're not quite ready. Something's wrong. Yeah. All right. So we'll do a before taxi checklist. So this one here.
Generators.
So that's what you did there. They're on.
Yep, right. Probe heat.
Yep. So you did that. They're on.
Probe heat, right. Anti-ice.
Anti-ice is here. So we've got wing and engine. We won't need those. It's a lovely day
Anti-ice.
here in California.
Isolation valve.
That's the aircon. That's set to auto.
Yep. Engine start. Switches.
They're set to continuous.
Right.
That's it.
Right. Recall.
Recall. That was that one there. So
Right,
we've done that.
Yes. Auto brake.
Set to RTO.
Yep. Engine start levers.
So we're just making sure that they're in their detent. They're not going to go anywhere.
Yep. flight control.
which you've checked, yep.
Yep, and ground equipment.
So we're just checking for tugs or baggage carts, which I'm clear on my side.
Yep.
So that is the before taxi checklist completed.
Jeez.
All right, so I'll just get our taxi clearance. Experience 556 is ready for taxi to the active runway.
Flight experience 556, taxi to hold short of the active runway.
Taxi to hold short of the active runway, experience 556. All right, so if you disengage the park brake, so just push that one all the way forward to the lights. There we go. Grab the thrust levers there, bring them up to about where my little finger is.
Both of them.
Yep, about, yeah, too far, bring them back. About there, that's it. Just using the tiller on your left. So I'll get you to steer the aircraft to the left, and we'll just go on this taxiway here.
Oh.
That's it, a little bit more than that's it. So we'll just go on the darker grey bit. And then all the way to the end of the dark grey bit, and then we'll turn left. Well, actually, if you just want to turn down here, it might be easier.
Round here.
Yep, so just follow this one here.
Jeez, it's very sensitive.
Yep, so if you let go of it, there you go, aircraft settles down, and then you can have another go. And then all the way right.
I should have gone on the other side of that line, shouldn't I?
That's all right. So the cabin crew now are giving their emergency brief to all the passengers.
Round to the left.
Yeah, we'll just stop at this whole point here. See this yellow line?
Yep.
So that's, we can't cross that without
Flight
clearance.
experience 556, line up.
Oh, there we go. We've just got clearance. All right, I'll do a quick before takeoff checklist. So flaps are set to 5, green light, and stabilizer trim is set to 5. There you go. All the way to the left now. So all the way down. All the way down.
Oh, where? Here.
There we go. All right.
Oh, hang on, I've got to get on that line, don't I?
Yep, just let go of the tiller. There you go, so it'll settle itself down, then just little movements, there we go. So if you just let go, what I'll do is I'll just line us up on the runway.
Right.
So we've been cleared to line up, we haven't been cleared to take off yet. So this will be a perfect time to give a bit of a takeoff brief. That's it. Alright, and I'll just set the park brake. I'll get you to turn the transponder on, so that's switched there all the way around to the right. That's it. These 4 switches here, get you to flick those all the way down. There are landing lights. And that one there. That's it. And I'll get you to turn the fasten seatbelt sign off and back on again. And then back on. That's it. So let this cabin crew know they need to take their seats. We're about to take off.
Right.
Alright. So what I have to point out is you probably think the view looks a little bit skewed. It's to do with how wide the cockpit is and the displays. The easiest way to line yourself up is, see that gap there?
Yep.
Yep. So if you line that up with the runway centre line, we'll be pretty much dead on the middle, which we are pretty much. For me, we are anyway. So, all right. So what we'll do is I'll just talk about I'll brief you on the takeoff. So the takeoff's 3 simple steps. So step 1 is we advance the thrust levers up to 40%. So they're like RPM gauges in a car. Once the thrust is stable at 40%, step 2 is we push this little black button in here. And that's our takeoff power. So once that button's pushed, the thrust levers automatically start moving forward, and it'll apply maximum power, and we'll start accelerating down the runway. When that happens, it's just a matter of both hands on the yoke, steering as best you can with the rudder pedals. So if you need to go left, kick the left one. If you need to go right, kick the right one. And then step 3, down the under end of the runway, you'll hear me call rotate, and that's your cue to pull back, and we'll get airborne.
Right.
All right, so we'll just get our clearance first.
Flight experience 556, airborne, contact departures, cleared for takeoff.
Airborne, contact departures, cleared for takeoff, experience 556. Alright, we're ready to go. So if you just disconnect the park brakes, just push that forward. Yep, grab the thrust levers, bring them up to about 40%, which is roughly where my hand is, right there. That's it, you can see the thrust coming up now. There you go, steer with the rudder pedals, keep that straight. There we go, step 2, push that little black button in there.
Yep.
Yep,
Oh,
try it again.
Yep.
There we go. So both hands on the yoke. Steer with the rudder pedals. So rudder pedal right to steer. There you go. The yoke won't do anything on the ground, so keep it straight. So yep. Steering with your feet. There we go.
Yep.
So a bit of right rudder. So push on the right pedal. There we go. A little bit more. Keep that straight. That's it. And rotate. So pulling back, pull back, pull back, pull back. There we go. Bring that nose up. A little bit more. So pull back just a little bit more. That's it. Alright, so we're airborne now. We don't need the landing gear. So with your right hand, if you pull that out all the way up, that's it. Good.
Gee, that's so sensitive under there.
Alright, I'll get you to retract the flaps to set to 1. So just put the flap lever in there. That's it, drop it in. There you go. That's it, both hands on the yoke. There you go. Alright, now we can go flaps all the way up. So as you lift it, bring it forward. So let it in, that's it. As you lift it, there you go. Alright, set a speed here of 250. Alright, what I'll get you to do now is we'll just start a bit of a right turn, sorry. So if you just turn the yoke a little bit to the right. That's it. Los Angeles departures experience 556 on climb 4,300, climbing for 9,000.
Flight experience 556 identified. Continue as filed. Climb to cruise altitude. Report top of descent.
Continue as filed. Climb to cruise altitude. Report top of descent. Experience 556. Alright, so we've been cleared to climb up to 25,000 feet. So what I'll get you to do is if you just push VNAV. That's it. And nice and gently, just push LNAV because that button's a little bit tricky. There we go. Alright, now I get you to push Command A. That's it. So that is auto. So if you let go of the yoke now, so that's autopilot is taking over for you. We've also been cleared to climb up to 25,000 feet. So if you turn that knob there till it reads 25,000. 25, so keep going.
Oh, 25?
Yep, so keep going.
Oh, right.
That's it. There we go. Alright, I'll get you to turn the fasten seatbelt sign off and back on again. Back on. That's it. That lets cabin crew know they can get up now and start getting things ready. We'll clean up the aircraft. So if you just pull the landing gear lever out and just set it in the middle to off. Just there, that's it. Let it in. There we go. Get you to turn the auto brakes off. Flick that to off. So to off.
To off.
There we go. Yep. I'll get you to turn the engine starts to off. So just kind of flick it to the left a little bit.
This one?
No, that one there. To off.
Off. Yep.
Yep. No worries. I'll get you to turn these 3 lights off here. So just flick those up with the white ones and that one there. And those 2 there. There we go. Alright, we'll do a little bit of an after takeoff checklist, which is that one there. So, I don't know if you can just lift that up.
Yep.
Yep.
I can see engine bleeds.
So they're on, just here, so that's for the air conditioning.
Bleeds, packs.
Yep, which stands for air conditioning, so they're on auto.
Right. Landing gear.
So up and off.
Right. And flaps.
Flaps are up and no lights. Okay, after takeoff checklist completed. Alright, what we can do now is, where are we? We're at 12,000 feet. We'll turn the fasten seatbelt sign off so passengers can start getting up. And we'll turn the rest of the landing lights off, so just flick those up. That's it. Alright, now we'll see if we can get a coffee.
Right.
Never works though, no one ever brings me coffee. Alright. So now it's the autopilot is flying our flight plan that we've entered into the FMC. So we're basically monitoring everything, making sure everything's going according to plan. So what we can do is if you just select climb, so CLB, that goes to our climb page. So you can see that our cruise altitude is 25,000 feet. It's got our target speeds, so the speed it's trying to maintain will be 310. which it's doing a very good job of if you look at the airspeed indicator.
Yep. Yep.
We've also got on the right here, see it's got 2T/C?
Yep.
That stands for 2 top of climb. So that's saying we've got 25 nautical miles till we get to 25,000 feet. And if we just go, so this button, this grey one here, does the range of the navigation display. So if you just turn it to the right, one click, that's it. Go another one, go one more. There we go. So see that green line?
Yeah, yeah.
You see blue TC? That's actually indicating when we will actually get to our top of climb. That makes sense?
Yep.
All right.
So there's a lot more to it than what you think.
There is. Wait till we get to the landing.
So why is it when you're on some flights,
Yeah.
just after you take off, you really feel it do a turn, like a sideways type thing?
Probably the wind.
Is that okay?
Yeah. If you've got a crosswind, the aircraft takes off, and then you kind of just let the aircraft pivot into the crosswind. It'll automatically do it,
Right.
and you just allow, like pilots, you just allow it to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you've got a strong crosswind coming from the left or right, it will take off and it will kind of do that pretty much straight away. All right, what we can do now is we've reached transition altitude. So what that means is we were using the airport's altimeter settings, which were 1009. So basically the pressure of the air around the airport. Now that we're not near the airport, all aircraft set their altimeters to standard, so that every aircraft's altimeter is reading the same. So to do that, if you just push this button here, so push it in, that's it. You can see that it's now set standard.
Oh, right.
Mine's still orange, but I'll push mine and set standard.
Right.
Because for example, if we have, say, 1009 and another aircraft has 1015 set, our altimeters could be reading completely different altitudes, but we could be at the same height.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, which is why, so above transition altitude, all aircraft set their altimeters to standard. So as we start descending into San Francisco, we'll go back to San Francisco's altimeter setting.
Of course.
Yeah. All right, so we've got 14 nautical miles till we reach top of climb. You can see our first waypoints coming into view there, RZZ. So I'll just extend your range just slightly, so you can see that after that we've got a little bit of a left turn, so that's not too bad. And the aircraft, because it's flying the flight plan that we've entered, will automatically turn. So what VNAV, how we push VNAV and LNAV? VNAV stands for vertical navigation. So we've told the autopilot we want you to take care of climbing and descending, our vertical navigation. And LNAV stands for lateral navigation.
Oh.
So we've told it we want you to take care of the climb and descending, and we also want you to take care of the turning. It's only going to follow the information that we've entered, though.
Mm.
So every single flight goes into autopilot.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was only used in certain situations.
It's amazing. Amazing. Yeah, amazing.
They're trim, yeah. Basically, it's kind of like, do you ever drive a boat? No? It's kind of, well, best way to explain it, say if you're in a climb in an aircraft and you're pulling back on the yoke, if you say climbing from 0 to 25,000 feet with constant back pressure, you're going to get fairly tired. So what you can do is trim that back pressure out, so you'll still climb, but you can basically fly with your fingertips. And the autopilot now, because we've got the autopilot on, the autopilot's flying with the trim. All right, so if we look at our altimeters there, we've got 23,500, so we've got about 1,500 feet to go until our climb altitude. Our cruise altitude, sorry.
Yep.
Which is in about, 5.5 miles?
5.5. In miles or kilometres?
Nautical miles.
Nautical
miles, yeah. So you can also see your airspeed indicator is reading about 311 knots. If we have a look up here, we can see that we've got a GS, which stands for ground speed. So because the air's so thin up here, we're reading a very low indicated airspeed, but in terms of ground speed, we're doing 440 knots. Now, a rough calculation to get it to kilometres an hour is very rough is times it by 2. So that's nearly 900 kilometres an hour that we're doing across the ground at the moment.
900 kilometres an
Yeah.
hour.
More accurate is 1.8, but 2's easier. Because a nautical mile is 1 minute of 1 degree of latitude. So, which means because we fly above the ground, it's hard to explain. Basically, when aviation came in, they needed rules, and they went, well, what's close? Nordic boats. That's just... So, yeah.
So we've levelled off now at...
we've levelled off at 25,000 feet.
25,000 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know when you're in a plane and it gets really rough because you're going through clouds?
Yeah.
Do you do anything or you just let autopilot deal with it?
Generally, it depends on how bad it is.
Yeah.
If the autopilot's coping with it, then you can just let it do it. But if it's not dealing with it, then you'll disengage. If the autopilot's not dealing with it, then you're probably in very bad weather. You probably shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All right. So now that we've got the cruise, if you just push cruise page. All right. So you can see here we've got 2 top D. So that means 2 top of descent. We've got 156 miles to go until we descend. So what we'll do now is I'll just run through a bit of an approach brief. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in on the ILS system for runway 28 right at San Francisco. So this is runway 28 right, just here.
Yep.
So we're going to come in and land on that one, which is basically over the bay. It'll be facing kind of that way to us. So we'll be doing probably a couple of left turns coming in. And what we're going to do is we're going to come down on the ILS system. Are you familiar with an ILS system at all? Have you heard of that? No? That's right. It's basically at the end of the runway. It's a radio beacon, best described as kind of a laser beam. So it points out from the end of the runway, and it gives you the descent path and the heading. And we can get the autopilot to lock on to that laser beam. So how we do that is if we go to in at ref, so if you push that one there, in at ref, that's it. So down here we've got our landing data here. So we're going to KSFO, San Francisco, 28 right.
Yep.
Gives us the runway length, and it gives us the ILS frequency. So that's quite handy. So we need that frequency. So if we go down here to our nav computers, I've got one here. Here you've got one there. So this knob here is 2 bits. So there's a big knob down the bottom and a little one at the top. So the big one does before the decimal place. So if we set that to 110, so if you grab the big one, so down one more, down one more. So see how there's a ridge there.
Oh.
There you go. So 110, sorry, before the decimal place. One more click to the left. 110. There we go. 0.75. So now we grab the little top one, and we set 0.75. Yep, there you go. 0.75. Back to the right. There we go. That's it. Now that's the standby frequency. We want to transfer it to the active. So if you push transfer,
Good Lord.
I'll transfer mine. So now that ILS is the active frequency. So when we come down and we get closer, we can arm approach mode of the autopilot, and it will come in and land for us.
Mate.
Well, not land for us, it will line us up. What we can also do now is get landing speed. So we're going to land at flaps 30 and 139. So if you just push this button here, yep, so you've selected I want to land at flaps 30 and 139, and just paste it into this one there. There you go. So now it's in there. That's our landing data. All right. One last thing I'll just explain as well is when we come down, when we start descending, this aircraft loves to descend, and it loves to speed up while we're descending. So what we'll need to do is we'll need to use the speed brake. Now, do you see how we've got flight detent there?
Yep.
So that's as far as you can extend the speed brake in flight.
Right.
To there. So it's a matter of just lifting it up, pulling it back to flight detent, and you want to leave your hand on it because you can forget that you've extended it. And what we'll do is we'll just balance out the speed. So I'll show you a bit more as we start descending how we need to play with that just to maintain the speed. Alrighty?
Yep.
So 25,000 feet, can you always see land?
You can see land in, yeah, pretty much any height. You're talking over the horizon. If you're in the middle of the Pacific, you won't see anything. That wouldn't really matter how high you are. There we go. I'll give you one more click so we've got the next waypoints. Alright, what I'll do now is we just go back to cruise page. So if you just want to push cruise, that's it. Alright, and what I'll do is I will just speed her up now so we can get this landing in. Alright, so I've just sped up the simulation just so we can fit everything in. Alright, we'll set auto brakes 2 as well, so if you just want to flick that around to 2. To 2?
2, sorry.
There we go. So on landing, that's automatically going to apply wheel brakes. Give it a bit more. 8. We'll go 8 times.
Geez, a lot to remember.
There is, yeah.
A lot to remember.
So really nothing can be caused through human error, can it? Because it would tell you if you haven't done something or you have done something wrong.
I wouldn't say nothing. It's minimised,
Yeah.
and it's getting better. Every time there's an accident or incident, we always learn something from it.
Yeah.
But there's always human error, unfortunately.
Yeah. But there's a lot of checkpoints along the way.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's times when the pilots can just sit there and relax a bit.
I tend to tell students if you're staring out the window, then there's probably something you could be doing.
Right.
So right now I'm just keeping an eye on our distance to go to top of descent,
Right.
and then I'm just looking at my checklist to make sure that we've gotten everything.
Yeah.
It must get tiring when you're doing, say, a 23-hour trip or something.
Yes. Yeah.
I haven't done one, so that doesn't appeal to me at all.
No. Gee.
But, if you do, say, even just doing this, so I've got 4 clients today, and I know that by the end of today I'm going to be quite knackered.
Yeah.
All right. So go back to cruising. You see 9.5 nautical miles, so I'll just get clearance. San Francisco, approach experience 556 is with you to flight level 250.
Flight experience 556. Contact approach now.
Over to approach experience 556. Approach experience 556 with you, flight level 250.
Flight experience 556. Descend to flight level 150.
Down to flight level 150. Okay, so if you select flight level 150, so to the left, that's it. So 15,000 basically that means.
$15,000.
That's it. There you go. And I'll get you to push descend now. There we go. We've just started our descent. One thing as well, this aircraft, as I said, likes to speed up, so we'll change the speed that we descend at. So if you type in 2, 8.
2, 8.
Yep. And then 0. That's it. And then just put it in the second line down. That's it. And then execute. So what you just said there, you've told the aircraft that you want to descend at 280 knots instead of 310.
Right.
Just to let it start helping us slow the aircraft down.
But I'll still have to use that in a minute.
You will at some point.
Yep.
We'll just do a quick descent checklist. So recall. So if you want to push that one there.
Recall.
Yep, all clear, no worries.
Yep. Auto brake.
So we've set that to 2, that's checked. So that is, yep.
That's right. Landing data.
So that's what you did on this page here. So flaps 30, yep.
And approach briefing.
So we've talked about that we're going to come in, we're going to fly on the ILS.
Yep.
One thing I'll point out, about 1,000 feet or so, it depends on how well the approach is going, I'll get you to disengage the autopilot. And to do that, you see where your left thumb would be on the yoke? So you see that bit that sticks out?
Yep.
There's a button on the end of that. Just push that twice, and that'll disengage the auto. Not yet, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not
So-
yet, no. Sorry.
As we start to get visual with the runway, that's how you disconnect the autopilot. So pushing it twice, what that is if you push it once, you'll get a warning flash up, and then pushing it twice confirms that that's what you wanted to do. So it's the aircraft's asking you, are you sure? Or it's telling you, are you aware the autopilot's just been disengaged?
Secure.
Yeah. Because what happened, there was an accident, Kid, I don't know if you've seen Kid in a Cockpit, which is one of the air crash investigations.
Yeah.
An early plane, yeah, one of the early 737s, if you were just to have the autopilot on and do this, the autopilot would disengage and not tell you that it's disengaged. So Captain got his nephew in or something on the captain's seat, and the nephew started playing with flight controls, autopilot disengaged, the plane banked over and it crashed.
Jeez.
Alright, so you can see that we've asked it to set 280 knots on the FMC, but it's struggling. It's now up to 290 knots. So this is where we have to start using the speed brake. So if you grab the speed brake, pull it up. So pull it up, pull it up. Pull it up first, that's it, and then into flight detent. There you go.
Yep.
And keep your hand on it. That's it. So if you've got it extended, just keep your hand on it. And you can see there the airspeed's starting to roll back. So when it slows back down to about 280, you can retract the speed brake, because what will happen is the thrust will start fighting the speed brake.
So retract it.
So yeah, all the way up.
Back, yeah.
Once you reach 280 knots, you slow down, and you'll have to do that a few times on the descent. That's it.
Yep.
There you go. So what will happen now is you'll see the airspeed start to accelerate again. When you get to about 290, you can pull that speed brake back and just keep it within 280, 290.
Yep.
Yeah, I just put the, there we go, that's fixed it.
Down to 275.
That's alright, so you can retract the speed brake.
Yep. Okay. Oh, that's going down fast, isn't it?
There we go, so yeah. Alright. So what we'll do now is we'll go to San Francisco's altimeter settings, so just push that one. That's it, I'll push mine. There we go. Alright. Experience 556 is descending through flight level 170. That's it.
Flight experience 556, Foxtrot confirmed, descend unrestricted, cleared for the approach. Contact tower once established.
Descend unrestricted, clear for the approach, contact tower once established, experience 556. That's it, good. It's looking good, this one.
No wonder you need two.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Alright. So we've been cleared to descend, so I'll just set 3,000 feet. So he said cleared unrestricted, which means we're allowed to descend as much as we like, and basically we're cleared to start our approach into San Francisco.
Are you moving your feet?
No.
No.
No, that's the autopilot doing it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's following the flight plan in. Alright, I'll get you to turn the fasten seatbelt sign on. So if you just flick that down.
Which one?
That one there, fasten seatbelt. That's it.
Oh, back there, yep.
Alright. I'll get you to turn these 3 lights on here. Oh, actually, correction, I'll get you to turn all of them on. So those 4 silver ones all the way down. That's it, and the 3 white ones all the way down as well. That one is that one there. I'll get the engine starts. So they're set to continuous. That's it. You can pull that speed brake again out to the flight detent. That's it. Alright, what you'll notice there as well is we've just descended through our transition altitude, which means we now have a speed limit of 250 knots. So if we have a look here, see speed? 250 knots, yeah. So if you just try and hold that speed brake out, it's going to be difficult to slow it down, but hold that speed brake out until we slow to about 250.
So you want this to come down to 250?
250, yeah.
So yeah, I got to hold. It's only doing it slowly.
That's fine. It might start to not even slow it down. There you go. So it started actually. So I'll just play with the vertical speed. Alright. So I'll just do a quick approach checklist. It's a huge one. So altimeters set to 1009. And mine's set as well. So that's the approach checklist completed. That was huge, that one, wasn't it?
This is only showing 274.
That's right. So this is what I mean. The aircraft doesn't like to slow down, especially when you're descending. So just hold that lever there. That'll maintain.
Is it hard to hold yet?
Sorry?
Is it hard to hold? Like, does it feel like it's...
No, it's, well, would it be hard on a main, on a plane? No.
Nah, it's hydraulic, so.
So this is still on autopilot, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Alright, if you just want to cycle the fasten seatbelt sign, so turn it off and back on again. That's it. It's cabin crew need to take their seats. Alright. Alright. Alrighty. What I get you to do is I'll just get you to select flaps 1 as well. That's it. So the airport's off to our left. So in a second I'll get you to We're just going to have to increase this descent just to get everything to work properly, which means the aircraft might start accelerating.
It's going up.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a tough aircraft to slow down. Once we get down to about 3,000 feet, we might level off for a sec, which will give the aircraft time to settle. What I get you to do is just push APP, which is approach mode. Try that again. Alright, just Alright. Alright, the aircraft will start to turn, there we go.
What did you do then?
So I turned lateral navigation back on.
Ah, right.
Because the approach mode for some reason isn't working. I don't know why. That's it. Runway's off to our left. So the aircraft will hopefully continue turning. Alright, there it goes.
250.
That's it. This is not working for some reason. Why is this not working? Alright, I'll do it my old way. Alright. So you can retract that speed brake now. Now that we're at 250, that's it. Alright, I'll get you to go to flaps 5. As you lift it, bring it back. So drop it in. As you lift it, bring it back. There you go, into flaps 5, that's it. And I'll get you to slow down to 180. Alright, see the runway off there? So we're going for the one on the right.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep.
Yep. Now, the feet on the...
Yeah, you won't need them till we get on the ground though.
No.
Okay, I'll get you to go landing gear down. So out and down. San Francisco Tower experience 556 is established. We'll go to flaps 15.
Flight experience 556, continue approach, report on final.
We'll go to flaps 15. Roy?
Sorry?
Flaps 15.
Flat 15?
Yeah. And we'll slow down to 150. Experience 556. That's it. Alright, I'll get you to disengage the autopilot, so just push that twice. That's it, start coming to the right for me just slightly. That's it, look, keep going to the right, keep going to the right. That's it, nice and gently, there we go.
So I've got to line it up with that.
Yep, and we're going for the one on the right, the big,
Yep,
the wide
yep,
one,
yep,
that's it.
Yep.
Bit of back pressure on the yoke, just pull back on the yoke. Just pull back on the yoke, pull back on the yoke.
1,000.
There you go. Alright, I'm going to go to flaps 30.
Flat 30.
Flap 30.
Yep.
Flaps 30. There you go. And we'll slow down to 144. That's it. Bit of forward pressure on the yoke. Just push forward. That's it. And just now pull back. Just get that runway. That's it. Good.
Approaching minimum.
Just start coming to the left.
Minimum.
Just to the left. Yeah, that's it. Looking good.
500.
There we go. Now you can roll those wings back to level, so turn the yoke to the right, just slightly. To the right. That's it. Yep. Hold it right there. Good. Alright, I'll get you to grab the thrust levers with your right hand. Just hold them there, though.
Shit.
That's it.
100.
Pull them all the way back. Now start pulling back on the yoke.
50.
A little bit too much.
30.
No.
20.
There you go. Hold it about there.
10.
Oh,
There we go.
Jesus.
Alright, now if you grab the reverse thrust, Roy, so these levers here, pull them back. Keep the yoke straight. So you're steering with the rudder pedals. Steering with your feet. That's it. Yep. Good.
Oh, Jesus.
That's it. All right, once we've slowed down through 60 knots, there we go. So if you grab the reverse thrust, Roy, grab those, push them all the way forward. It's disconnected. There we go. We're just going to taxi up a bit.
Jeez.
That's it.
Jeez.
So this won't do anything. You can completely let that go. So you're steering with the rudder pedals.
Yep.
That's it. Bring those back a bit. There we go. So what I get you to do is just turn. See this left tax? No. So this won't do anything. Just let the yoke go. So steering with the rudder pedals. That's it. There we go.
Gee.
There you go.
Good Lord.
All right. We'll just stop here. So we've got to get clearance now.
Flight experience 556, taxi to the terminal.
Taxiing to the terminal, experience 556. All right, so now you can steer with the tiller. That's it. Just follow this yellow line. The terminal's just this is a runway here, so we're just crossing a runway.
Yep. Nobody coming?
No, we're good.
No. Gee whiz.
That's it.
Oh my God.
If you just let it go, There you go. And now just little movements. That's it, little movements. That's it. We'll just turn to the left down here. Yep.
To the left.
We'll go up to one of these gates dead ahead.
What, dead ahead?
Yep. So just
Oh, you're over there.
Yep.
Yep.
So you see this yellow line here? There's
Yes.
a gate just here. We'll get this yellow line. That's it, and we'll taxi up to this gate here. That's it. And I'll just get the toe brakes. We'll stop there. All right, I'll get you to set the park brake. There we go. All right. Yeah. So you probably just on landing, you probably noticed that I flicked the switch. So I turned the
I didn't notice anything. Tell you the truth.
So I've turned the APU back on.
Yeah.
So now we can transfer power from the engines over to the APU. So this one here, pull it out and down. Out and down, that's it. This one here, pull it out and down. There we go. Now grab these two here, pull them out, all the way down, and then lock them in. So this one here, just lock it in. There you go.
Yep.
They're the two engines. All right, now I get you to turn these two fuel pumps out off. So pull them out first. That's it. One on the end, pull out and up. That's it. And then this one here, these two here, that one there as well. That's it. The reason we leave that one on is that supplies fuel to the APU.
Oh, right. Okay.
All right.
Oh, well.
So we'll do a shutdown. So if you just want to run through that one.
Right, fuel pumps.
Fuel pumps are off. That's what you just did. Yep.
Probe heat.
Yeah, I turned those off on landing as well.
Right, hydraulic panel.
Hydraulic panel. So these two switches here, Roy, if you just pull those out and up. That's it. And this one, no, leave that one on. That one there. Yep.
Sorry.
There you're right. Flaps are up. I retracted those.
Parking brakes.
Set.
Engine park levers.
Yep. So they're in there. All right.
Yep.
Done. We're ready for the next leg. We're ready to go back to LA now.
Are we?
Yeah. Good job.
Gee.